Today we're actually going to talk about the algorithms with an S, and we're going to go in detail. I'm really excited about this one because there's information I've never shared ever before, and you guys are exclusively getting this. And this is like super exciting. My whole goal for this is to help you achieve becoming better creators. And before we get into the detail, YouTube has been great at really giving tools to creators to really help us create better content. Now, getting into it, a little bit about me. I actually discovered YouTube back in 2005, and it literally, my jaw literally hit the ground when I saw what was happening. It was the first time I was able to see video that didn't have the dreaded buffer, and also you could embed these videos on websites, and I was really excited about that. So I switched the focus of my company and started to work 100% with video, and really aggressively finding ways for those videos to be found. In 2006 is when Google purchased YouTube, and those videos in late 2006, 2007, those videos started to rank in Google, and I was really excited because we were able to rank a lot of videos on the front page of Google, even in several positions in the front page, and I really found my love. But it wasn't until I was able to work with an amazing creator, the Piano Guys, when they're trying to sell pianos online, and before you know it, just showcasing music, that I really found my true passion, which is audience development. And so what we're going to do is talk a lot about audience development. I have an agency that I run that we focus 100% on audience development and growth, and then really how to leverage that to make money in the right way. And I'm going to teach you a few strategies here that should help elevate your CPMs if you really listen. Also, I have 45 billion video views that we've been able to track on YouTube. We have 21 gold play buttons. These are channels we started from nothing and getting over 1 million subscribers each in multiple verticals. Some that our company owns all outright, others that we work with other creators. But we've been through the process of starting with nothing and getting very solid. Also, Facebook's really interesting. We have 26 billion video views on Facebook. I really love that platform for a lot of reasons. We're not going to go over algorithm stuff on Facebook. We'll have to hold that for another time. So we're going to go right in on triggering growth with YouTube. I know a lot of content creators, they struggle sometimes when they're trying to create content and they say, oh, we had an algorithm change. And this poor guy, this meme has gone everywhere. You know, he's trying his best. He really is trying his best. And there's a lot of struggles. And take back a few years, and I want everyone to have some context to this. It's like, YouTube is so massive, and there's so many different creators, and even YouTube has a hard time to be able to communicate with every creator, and there's so many different support issues and stuff like that. But ultimately, YouTube is a system that content creators that create amazing content can be found, and the algorithms, with an S, is meant to help you. And so what I want to explain is what is the actual goal, and you've heard this before, you've taken pictures of this slide of this talk and other talks from here, but what's the goal that YouTube has? Well, the first goal is they're trying to predict what the viewer will watch. They're very, very, very sensitive to the viewer because that viewer will help YouTube expand and grow to where it needs to be. So I want you always to remember what the viewer is. And I just started a podcast, and I was super excited because we're talking shop. And we actually had different guests on, like Matt, Pat, and Steph, and we were going in through a lot of things. And we were just slowly growing our YouTube channel, and we're trying to develop a specific audience. And then we did an interview with Chad Wildclay and his wife, V, who are just the most amazing people out there. They do younger kids content. We went from averaging 100 to 200 views and a couple thousand views to over 100,000 views on one video. And that was the only time I was really depressed of getting 100,000 views, because it was just the wrong viewer that I wanted to attract. So with YouTube, they're trying to predict what the viewer will watch. And the more that you can get into that mindset of helping the AI to do it. This next goal would be, how do you actually maximize long-term viewer engagement, and satisfaction. Now, this is where I think YouTube is knocking it out of the park. Basically, long-term engagement and satisfaction used to start at a click. And they're now really getting them satisfied further and further down. It's like they're light years ahead of where they're at. Now, knowing these two goals that YouTube has, we need to really, truly understand what type of data that they really care about. Now, what I'm going to share with you here today is things that you should really focus in on. There's a couple things that you might not know, and I really want you to kind of apply back on your channels or your brand what we're talking about here. So first off, YouTube's gathering data of user behavior and videos. So let's talk about user behavior. So basically, user behavior, they're looking what users are telling YouTube about the video based on behavior. And behavior is one of those things that they're really, really trying to pay attention to and really have a good understanding of the viewer. And I think they're getting better and better and better because they're just collecting more and more data, and they're getting different types of points. And it all comes back down to how is the viewer actually satisfied with the specific content that we're actually showing them. So we're going to be talking about satisfaction signals, but they're really, really sensitive to this. So the first one is what they watch. That's no surprise. Like, they're trying to understand what people want to watch, so they're just watching what people watch. Also, what they don't watch, what they skip. You know, there's a lot of different things that's being displayed in different areas, different features of YouTube, and they're seeing how you behave on the platform. How much time you are spending and spend watching. They're very concerned with this. Now, I want you to understand that time isn't all equal. They're looking for very specific types of time and activities that's happening. And also, they're looking at likes and dislikes, but this is not for any ranking value. You're not going to improve your ranking in search because there's so many likes or dislikes. It has nothing to do with that, but it gives it context and signals back to the algorithm that's helping that content to be served. Next is something I use quite frequently, not interested feedback. Does anybody do that? We got a few people. Do it more frequently and you'll actually have a better experience on YouTube. This next one, you know, as a marketer, I really love and appreciate, and it's surveys. And I don't know if you use surveys a lot. There's two types of surveys that are going on. There might be some other surveys I'm not aware of, but the first one's like really for the appeal of your experience on YouTube. And how was YouTube today? So it's like a general appeal, how you're there. The next one is after a video, if that video was actually the type of video you're looking for, and that engagement. And I promise you, if you will fill out that survey, your experience will even be light years ahead in the right direction of really defining the type of content that YouTube can predict for you. Now, these next ones, you've probably seen all of them except for surveys probably discussed before, but here's a couple other ones. They're super sensitive how often that you come back and watch again. And that's one of those indicators that really has a lot of weight and a lot of merit for that. And it's been discussed before, but saving content and watching it later, or saving content, watching it on an airplane, is one of those signals that's there. And then also, there's a lot more longer form content. There's podcasts and content that's 2 or 3 hours. They want to know, you know, are you coming back and finishing the content that you started? Do you have that active engagement? And how are you finding that? Is that something that you go back in certain areas of different YouTube features to do it, or is YouTube serving it again, you're watching again? They're really looking at those signals. Now, that being said, there's always about a satisfaction feedback loop. What I love about this is that their feedback loop is instantaneous. Before, it had to gather data, crunch data. It would take days, and then it would kind of figure out things from there. But now it's instant, and it's really, really smart, and it's really predictable of where you know, content should be exactly for the right type of viewer. Also, let's talk about gathering the video metadata. Now, I want to stress this, and I'll stress it quite heavily here. I believe that metadata is more important now than ever before, but it's not what you think. And I know a lot of people are very concerned about their tags and their titles and descriptions, and they have merit. There's a lot of things that are there, but the metadata that I'm going to share with you is the metadata that you really should care about. And it starts here with a thumbnail. When you actually use a custom thumbnail, there is data that's included with that. Now, the internal innards of YouTube is using Google Brain as the AI to manage all the different feature sets that are on YouTube. And there's one thing that you can use called Cloud Vision, and it analyzes thumbnails. And they're able to really predict what the content, and your thumbnail is the beginning of your content, what your content is really about. They can see there's some joy, you know, and there's some sorrow, anger, surprise, you know, if they're exposed. I mean, you can get really, really detailed. What I love about this is it gives it a confidence rating, and it's all over the place. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, and this is where I want you to pay really close attention. Then they start to label your metadata. So this is the Cloud Vision predicting what all these little things is. There's skin, nose, eyes, photo caption, mouth, photography, smile, and those labels go on and on. Another thing that's really important is the web entries. So they're saying, okay, is this found anywhere? Well, guess what? You know, Stephen Hawking's there's a Wikipedia page that's connected to, and then the creator has it. Then look at this one, black hole. There's no black hole in text, like for the OCR, but there is the image of the black hole that's there. And there are some references to it. And if you look at the score, that is the scoring of how relevant it really is and how, you know, when it predicts that that's what it's about. And then it starts to go through all the web entries, and there are a lot of content that it's able to go out there and to see what's there, and you can kind of see the things that is associated with that type of content. So it's starting to create this data relationship within itself, okay? Now this is where I like to geek out right here, is a lot of people are worried about their content if it's safe. I would 100% upload every thumbnail through Cloud Vision. You can do that for free. You can get an account. It's really simple. And you can upload your thumbnail to see if there's any red flags. When we were able to do that, we've had less of being demonetized off of a thumbnail. And you know, certain thumbnails might cause certain flags that's there. So use this as part of your process to upload. Now, let's talk about the video. This is where I'm probably the most excited. We've been using this a very long time. This is something that I haven't really publicly talked about a lot, but I want to kind of talk in detail about it because the algorithms really care about the viewer and the relationship to content, and that video is really important. So there is a tool called Video Intelligence that really starts to define what your content really is about. And this is where it gets really interesting. You can actually start to predict different shots. So it literally goes through every frame of your video and creates the same thing that happened in Cloud Vision and starts to label and put what the video is actually about in visual form. And what's interesting is there's a lot of noise. If they were going to do that, there would be a lot of noise, but they did a really good job at reducing the noise and really selecting what it's about. So right here, in this specific shot of Mr. Beast, you can see that the keyword grocery store is 95% positive that that's what it is, and that it's food and parking lot. And as he's having a discussion, it gets really, really interesting. But these keywords right here are really, really, really important. And in a video setting, these are the ones that you want to really start taking a little bit more focus in on, is really looking at these types of keywords. Now, here's the thing. There's 20,000 plus labels that are in the library, and it's expanding at a rate as the AI is getting smarter, and it's able to really understand what content is. I've been fascinated with this for several years now because they are getting so good that you could take a camera and start walking through this store, and we've done this in this video, and every label of every can will start to come back what's actually in stock in the actual grocery store, and it knows, oh, it's a can of ketchup, or a bottle of ketchup, you know, a can of beans or whatever it is, and it even says, oh, it's Dole, and it starts pulling all this information and seeing what the content really is about. This is super powerful, and YouTube for quite some time says, hey, you know, when you're putting your tags in your videos, we really don't care about that anymore. And the reason why, labels, when they're able to go through all the video content and your thumbnail, that they're able to start creating their own tags, and these are relevant tags that really tell you and tell the viewer what the video is actually about. Now, this right here is a little bit more complicated to get set up. You can still do it, and there is, like if you use it aggressively like we had, you know, there's things that will cost because you're using bandwidth, but you can set this up. I would encourage anyone that has a brand or, you know, huge libraries to set it up this way. It's a really great way to organize content and find content quickly, and you could use the AI to do it. You know, when we were getting it set up for some different clients, it was really, really cool because they were able to go through, you know, 15 years worth of content and really start identifying all these different things, and it was all happening in the background and labeling. Yeah, they were using bandwidth, but it was good for them. Instead of hiring someone who says, oh, find this shot. You know, it already found all those shots, and it would actually go through search. So it's really cool. YouTube's using the same system, but modified for YouTube to really have superior type of content. This next one, there's a lot of people that you know, are sensitive or they're getting demonetized, and they have you know, pornography likelihood. In this video, it's very unlikely. And you know, we could take a whole session and really talk about this, but we do need to move on. Next is captions. So what's being said in the video, like I said, is super important, and it comes back down to the natural language portion of Google Brain. This is where it gets really interesting. So everything that you're saying in your videos is trying to be analyzed of what type of context. Now, the natural language API, you can tap into this. It's like really defining, are you trying to spam someone, or is it natural language? And what is the weight? So I just took one paragraph out of one of my videos, just to put it here in this sense, and it starts bringing relevant articles and puts weight behind it. And we can go in depth on this, but it's what you say you know, has a lot of weight and context because of this right here. So it starts to score your content. And that content, they're trying to predict, is this content going to be good, and what is the content about? Well, they can figure out what the content's about, but they can't figure out what it's good until they serve it to viewers, right? And so they're really trying to define what this content is and be able to predict people to watch it. And once they have that data, then they can find similar people. This is where I really love it, because it really starts to geek out in all the English classes that I missed. But it's like they really start defining every little thing, what's a noun and so on, and it's showing the positions of it, and it has a lot of weight. Now, this next one is, it creates, when you use this enough, it automatically detects what category it should be in. So when you self-select your own category, there's not that many categories, and people are like, well, I need my own category. Well, they're already doing that for you. Like, that's why videos are so important and they're unique. You could do different types of videos, and it will figure out what type of category to serve that in based on what's being said in the video, what's being shown in the video, and also your thumbnail, okay? This is super powerful, and you can go see a complete list. Once you go through this process, there's that little link right there that you can click on it, and it will give you every list of categories. It will blow your mind how many categories there are and how they can really define that. Okay, now, metadata. I said metadata is more important than ever before, and this is why. Because it's taking what's in the thumbnail, because the thumbnail is content, and what's in the video, because video, of course, is content, and what's being said in the video, and that's pulling all this information, and then it's going to look at your title and description. Now, based on the YouTube feature that it's going to go, there might be a little bit more weight for the title and description, like in search. We'll talk about that in a second. But they are looking to say, is this content, is it validating? Is it clickbait? Or is it actually what's happening in the video? This right here is something that as you understand your content, what you're going to create, and if you can reinforce those keywords that already have a strong presence in your content, and you're utilizing it and reinforcing it in your title, that's where you start to have authority if your video will actually perform with the viewers. And it gets really, really interesting from here. This right here, like I can't overstress this, is the type of information that you're putting in your videos. You got to create better content if you want to succeed. Stop blaming YouTube, because it's ultimately up to you right now that if your content's going to perform or not. And I can tell you right now that there are creators that get frustrated, and the reason why they're frustrated is because they don't take a step back and analyze if their content's actually good. They just kind of coast. And I don't believe you can coast anymore. You have to always improve and always understand, where's the traffic coming from? Who are these viewers? And you have to analyze and adjust. And so this is a good place to start seeing where trends are happening and so on, and you're able to see what actually impacts your viewer. So YouTube is not one algorithm. Get that way out of your mind. There's multiple algorithms that actually happen. Each YouTube feature has its own set of systems. And each system is very specific of accomplishing certain goals. Okay, so here's a couple of them. There's other features that YouTube has, but I wanted to put together a few of them here. And if you notice, it's in the center is Google Brain. That's basically controlling all the algorithms and making sure everything's playing properly. But the whole objective is to achieve the objective and goals for that specific feature set. And the feature set has a system behind it, and it's trying to be optimized. It is taking time to really understand what's happening, the behavior that's going on, and really optimizing that specific feature set. I know that a lot of you have voiced frustrations over certain features not getting out. Like seriously, like the subscribers not being notified. Like really, I know it's kind of sometimes hard to trust, but it's like, the AI is really good at predicting if you can hit the metrics and the things that it's actually looking for, and it will get it out to far more people than what your small little group would be, okay? And so every feature has a system behind it, and what the features are looking for is a hit rate. It's very sensitive to this hit rate. Now, you're probably wondering, what's a hit rate? Well, a hit rate is how often viewers are able to find what they want to watch. And so each feature, there's a different hit rate for the objectives and goals that they're trying to accomplish. And so they're very individualized. They're organized, but they're individualized to what type of content it's providing for viewers to see. Okay? And this hit rate is extremely sensitive. And they are, all the hit rate's trying to do is follow the audience to understand the user behavior of the audience and understand the type of content that's being uploaded and make sure that they're giving new videos out to a new audience as new segments appear. So let's kind of break this down. And I think this is really important that we take a little bit more time of really understanding the features and understanding the hit rate, and so on. As Google Brain gets smarter and really achieves its goals, they're always going to be pushing the envelope. They're always going to try to define, hey, we need to amplify and really get a higher goal set. And you take all this data. There's a lot of noise out there, but they're able to take all this unstructured data, structured data, and see patterns that we cannot see. And that's where the AI is able to give a viewer a better experience. And so they're always doing experiments. I believe they said in a video on the YouTube creators channel, I have everyone subscribe to that and inside creators stuff. Definitely subscribe to those. but they're doing constant experiments. I think it's either 300 experiments. We could ask Todd, he's probably somewhere here at in VidCon, but it's like either 200 to 300 experiments that they actually solidified. Now, each experiment's not all across that. It's off different specific features. And they're always experimenting. They're always trying. Why do they do that? Well, they're trying to predict to get that hit rate to go up, okay? And it's really, really important that you understand that and not get frustrated. You just need to take a step back at times. Okay, I know a lot of creators have come to me and voiced their frustration at the YouTube homepage because, you know, it never was like it was before. You know, seeing only your subscriptions. And I'm here to tell you, it's good that they don't do it this way. Because a lot of you right here would have never been discovered or found if YouTube didn't shift that. There's more videos being served on the homepage every day than any time before, because that is how this feature is made, okay? So the whole goal of this feature is a one-stop personalized destination. You do not have to tap in a query, or you have to navigate. It's like everything's there for you to start to consume. Now, as you start giving feedback and satisfaction to your videos, this section would be so much better. Let me give you an example. I was on before I was going to go to VidCon London to speak, my kid was watching a cartoon, and he's like, hey, have you seen Odd Ones Out? And I'm like, I don't really watch cartoons. He goes, you got to come watch this. They have a video called Suabwe. So I sit down. I was crying, laughing so hard. And before you know it, I watched 3 videos from Odds One Out. And before you know it, I checked off YouTube because it was late at night. And the first thing I went in the morning, I went to YouTube, to the homepage, my personalized destination, and guess what's actually, I didn't subscribe to the channel, but guess what was there? 2 more videos from the same creator, and what did I do? I watched them, and I laughed again, and I go, I gotta stop. I can't binge watch the whole channel. But it found something that I liked. And then it literally stalked me and hunted me for about 28 days until I hit that subscribe button. Okay, now, this one-stop personalized destination is based on viewers, what they watch, and the search history. And if you want a clean slate, go ahead and just delete all your search history. You know, they keep some data and stuff like that, but it's just like, just start to see what it appears. Now, for me, I want it really focused because I don't want to waste time. Time is really important to me, and I want to be able to get exactly what I'm looking for. So this includes you know, how much a person watches on a specific channel or topic. Now, this right here, I want you all to understand. They don't want to just give you what you've already watched. They want to predict what you want to watch. And so if there's a specific topic that you enjoy, they're going to find other creators. Well, let me take a step back. They're going to find a subset of viewers like you and see what they're watching, and then that's what they're going to start serving on the YouTube homepage. So this is all about how many times we've already seen the results and so on and so forth. But this is where I like to break it down. I like to say, hey, it's broken into 2 parts, and it's personalized destination for what they're familiar with. These are things that you subscribe to or you've watched a lot of content, and they're like saying, hey, you've already watched this again, or watch this other version of this video, and what's being discovered. Now, I can tell you, I am so grateful that I'm finding videos I never knew existed, and I would have never found them. And I'm telling you, a lot of you creators would never have had the success that you had if they didn't actually change this feature. Because you'd be lost in the noise of YouTube. And they're actually surfacing this up. And there's also other things that's there, like Creator on the Rise, and there's a few other features like that that really give support to helping you find the right type of viewer. Okay. Now, let's talk about triggers. Triggers are really important, and I think everything is like, how do you trigger the algorithm? And it's simple. You actually need to pay attention to your content. And what is your content? Your content is your title, your thumbnail, your video, what you say in a video. That's your content. Your description, of course. And it starts to analyze all this, and it wants to see how satisfied people are. So to improve that, it's like create a better engagement and satisfy more of your viewers in a way that they'll want to watch more videos from you. And if you can get a larger sample size, then YouTube can go, hey, guess what? We're going to go and find you more people because this video is really good, it's performing, and guess what? There's all these people that just watch this content, we're going to serve it out there. Have you ever noticed that a video would actually get a ton of views and then it just kind of dies? And you're like, oh, why did it die? Well, what's happening there is it takes a break because you can only go and serve out to so many people, and whether it's effective or not, it doesn't matter. It needs to take a break until it creates enough user behavior to set it out to another group. And the more that it expands out, I have videos that have been going for the last 5 years, and it's like it's almost predictable of what that at. And every channel, every video is different. And so giving you numbers of that, it's not gonna help you. It's just like there is a predictive way that the algorithm goes and finds more people, because as people consume more, then they're like, oh, we gotta go ahead and show them this video. They're also looking how performance is higher than normal. And I'm really grateful for the studio beta. Get over it, just go jump on it, get entrenched in it, leave your feedback, tell them what you need, they will put it in there. They've been great to put a lot of features that I get really excited about. The first one was that video performance funnel. I mean, I was crying, well, not really, but I was crying. I was so grateful for it because it gave me so much information that I was just hypothetically thinking was happening, and they actually gave me real-time data. And now real-time CTR, I'm just like, oh, I'm just over the moon. But they're really looking at the performance of the video and having it higher than normal. I got to get cooking here. Okay, so next is the what's next. We call it suggestion, but this feature is like what to show the creators next. This is where things change. We're actually giving YouTube a query, the video. So the video actually has content. The video actually has data, and that data will say, okay, now we actually have a size of viewers that are seeing it, and we're looking at that relationship of that data to know what to predict to get it out there. Now this is, I can tell you right here, this is the most powerful recommendation areas, and I would spend a lot of time creating data relationships between your content. I'm going to give you some really, really important tactics and strategies that you need to do, and it's just best practices. But now that you give YouTube a query, which is the video, now it can start defining what it is. Now the AI has additional context of what you're watching now. So it has all that metadata that's in the video, but now it starts to have context. As people start watching your content, it gathers more and more data. Now, here's where it's interesting. It took a while before they push and promote in different ways, the freshness factor and a few other things. They can immediately turn it on and ramp it up as fast as it can grow, but it's going to only go to sample sizing, and it knows its limits, and it will kind of slow down, and then you'll see a huge drop, and it'll be patient a little bit, and then it'll come back up. But the AI actually has additional context with what you're watching, and it's trying to actually predict what viewers will have without having viewer fatigue and having them jump off of YouTube. So there is a mixed relationship of the what's next. This is all the content that's, if you're on desktop, it's the side of the video going down there. On mobile, it's beneath the video. There's a feature, I don't think I threw the video in, or the image in, because they had my slides before, but this is what they're actually pulling in. They're pulling in videos from the current channel that they're actually watching. So you as a creator, there will actually be videos that actually show up there, and it might or might not be on the same subject depending on what the viewing relationship of the person that's watching that at that time. It's also looking at who watched the video that you're watching and what they did next. So it's saying, okay, we had 10,000 people watch this video, and there was a 2% of the people that watched this video, 4% of the people watched this other video that we suggested, 10% of the people watched this other video, and it's starting to create content and video going off the side based off of that data, that user data, because it's similar people, what they're watching. Then they're also pulling in similar videos that have similar titles, keywords, and descriptions. And this is probably one of the most misunderstood. You're like, hey, you know, if the video I'm watching is about cooking, why don't I always see all cooking things, or I do see all cooking things? Well, they're going to pull in those 3 types of videos, And then a fourth one, which is personalized videos that are literally non-directly related to what you're watching, but it's topics that you like to consume and content that they already know that you'll want to consume. And the big thing here is this. There's two, when you're thinking of what's next, or watch next, is if you want to go further and further down the rabbit hole, not in a negative way, but you want to go more deep on the topic, you can. Or you can watch something else. That gives you two options to do that, and it's something that they already know that you might like. And the AI is really smart of understanding that relationship of when you start to have fatigue, how many videos in a row, how many when you stop binging a specific topic or a video, okay? So triggers to watch the next one. You guys want to know this, the triggers? Say yes. Yes. All right, here's the triggers. You want to create a strong behavioral data relationship with your own content. It's already built in, guys. It's already there. What we got to do is leverage that. Now, to do that, there's a couple ways to do it. One, I talk about video buckets. You have to have topics. You have to have topics that are going to resonate with an audience. And when you can narrow down, when you can niche down what that topic is, that's great. That's what I call a bucket. Then what you do is you can create content within that bucket that would resonate with an audience on a specific topic. And then you start doing it into a series, multiple videos on it. And that creates a really strong relationship between doing it. Now, if you do the same topic every day for the next 100 years, it's not going to do you any good. You know, you can only serve it out so much. But if you start to vary your topics based off of different other items, keywords that might be in that bucket, that creates a relationship. Then next, you create a strong CTA to have the viewer watch another video within that bucket, within that series. Stop asking them to comment, like, and subscribe. Tell them to watch this video because you need to watch it. So with our clients, guess what? We tell them, what's the thumbnail going to be? What's the title going to be? What's the hook going to be? And what is your video that you're going to recommend in the video so people can watch next? Because what we're trying to do is create a data relationship of, hey, you have 20% of the people that finished the video clicked on the other video that went to this next one. They're going to go ahead and predictably find people for you to watch. So that means cards, end cards, links in description, series playlists. Series playlists is important if you're doing serialized content, that you can actually create these bonds and this relationship between the content. Next, we're going to talk about search. I got to get cruising because I'm running out of time. But when you're doing search, you're giving YouTube a query. And you're actually typing in something. And this is where it gets interesting. They're going to display videos that match the query, the title, and the description. But have you ever seen in one of your searches that those videos show up that doesn't have the title or the keyword in the title or description, but it's there? That happens all the time for me. And basically, this is another one. It's like people searching for this query tend to watch certain types of videos, and it might show up. Like that might be one of the things that's happening in that search feature. But most importantly, they're looking at the performance. And the performance. When someone sees that, do they watch just a portion of the video? Do they watch more of the video? Are they more engaged in that area? They're looking very specific at that information of what to see. Now, if you're trying to game this, don't. Just make better content. And it all starts down with your title. Next is trending. There's been a lot of frustrated creators on trending. They don't understand this. I like to say that it's a Geo-Pacific water cooler. And basically, this is not a popularity list. It's not what's the most popular videos in different verticals. It's not that. What it is it's really understanding broader topics that appeal to a huge, large audience. And this right here, the larger the audience it is, it could be different topics that you'll see something that has 10,000 views, and you're like, oh, some YouTube employees like hit a button so that it shows up. That's not the case, because it's appealing to something that can appeal to a lot more people. But what happens is this: people are talking about it on the web. This feature is very sensitive to news articles and coverage, conversations that are happening outside of YouTube. So it's really focusing in on that. It's really focusing in on that. And whether you like it or not, that's what's there, because that's the whole purpose, the objective of that feature. So focus in on the viewer. This next, and I got to really cruise and I do apologize. You really need to start focusing in on the middle of the video performance funnel. And like I said, I'm really grateful for YouTube for this feature. This is the best thing that hit the analytics since real-time analytics. And if you ever want to know what the feature does and where things are going, there's a little eye icon on it. Just roll over that and it gives you a lot more data. But what you want to do is focus in on the middle. The first thing is CTR is not the king, but it carries weight in really start getting people into your video so that they can get viewer behavior in your video. And it's really important. So you can see this content was 99.8% recommended by YouTube. We had a 23.1 click-through rate. When this was only recommended at 42%, it was like a smaller sample size. It's like our own group. And it was like 42% click-through rate. It was a really good thumbnail and a really good title. You also want to spend hours. This is Jimmy. I don't know if you know him, but he is Mr. Beast and one of the most real, authentic people I've met. And he just cares about the title and the thumbnail so much. And then he wants to, he comes up with that. He spends hours really analyzing what he's going to do for a video, and sometimes days, and sometimes weeks, and sometimes months. And he wants to understand what it's going to look like, the relationship. There's a lot of testing going on. It's just not creating it last minute before you upload. And there's a lot of thought. But next, you want to spend double, triple, quadruple the amount of time. If you were my client, I would say you need to spend a lot more time until you can start doubling your averages in a different way. The lower rung of this is the average view duration. I've always been sensitive to that, of the percentage and also the minutes watched. And I know that there's a lot of weight and discussion on, hey, is it percentage? Is it minutes watched? Well, yes, it's both. I personally care a lot about the percentage. I don't know if I'm right, but I do. And I want to know if they can finish the video, then they're satisfied. And then there's a toggle, too, that you can actually come in. Oh, I got more slides here. But there's a topic that you can actually come in and you can toggle it to see how it is relative to other videos that are similar into that type of niche, similar length, and you can see if it's above average or whatever. So I'm really sensitive to those two things. Next, please, 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 always deliver on the promise of the title and thumbnail. If you do not do this, you will be penalized. Because if that viewer says, oh, this is not the content I'm looking for, and please don't do it at minute marker 8. Like, literally do it at the beginning, right there in the front, first 10 seconds, reinforce that keyword and the promise of that title and thumbnail. Your audience retention graph is really interesting. I want every creator in here, whether you're a brand or a YouTuber, to spend time on this. This tells the relationship how your video is actually performing based off of viewing behavior. And the best way to understand what the algorithm likes and what the averages are is to really understand this. And the cool thing is you can play a video and it will show you the real time where people drop. And what's interesting is this specific video, the reason why it dropped down so much, we did not reinforce our title and our thumbnail within that first bit of time, but we did a little bit later, and then that's when they're like, okay, did they just jump to that part? And they didn't want to feel like they were missing anything on it. Average view duration was great on this, but every video is different. Now, remember we talked about buckets? You can start to see correlation between content. And when it's on a specific topic and it appeals to a specific viewer, then you can start putting things in groups. Now, this is a feature that I begged YouTube to put in there. And luckily, Matt Pat was able to, him and quite a few others made the suggestion to get it in there. So in the analytics, it's like the most powerful thing to do is look all your top videos. And in the upper right-hand corner, you can actually do some comparisons. If you start putting those videos in buckets and groups, and you start saying, hey, this is all related content within this topic or niche, and it's my serialized stuff, and you start doing all your different buckets, you now start to compare data that is the right way. You can see which viewers like which content, but you can see which traffic source these content's coming from, and this is going to shock you that there's certain traffic sources that like certain type of content. And when you understand that as a brand or as a creator, that helps you really understand the dynamics. Now, the closing thing, and I want everyone to understand this, is you have to improve your content. your content and the relationship that it has with viewers is not going to go away. Like, it's not going to go away. And it's either going to perform or not. Now, there's all these hidden surprises that happen that you'll have a piece of content that just takes off. And that's because YouTube finally found a large enough sample size to actually give you the content that you want to watch. And when you do that, you can have numbers that just take off. And you can really explode. You can have a ton of views in a short amount of time by just changing a few little things. It's small tweaks. Don't overanalyze what we're talking about. Just make better content and really focus on the viewing experience of what people are watching at that time. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.